All right, so I have not really been keeping up with Baldur's Gate 3 news, but you don't need to catch wind of all of this drama involving Baldur's Gate 3. Of course, it launched on PC. People are loving it. That makes me so happy because if any game deserves love, okay, it should be the iconic Baldur's Gate. Anything Baldur's Gate. Because you know whoever's going to get a hold of a game like Baldur's Gate is going to be a fan of the franchise, right? They're gonna do their very best, and that's exactly what the developers have done, and everybody should be singing their praises. However, yes, I am aware of the drama involving. He's doing the Gundam style. Don't. I am aware of. There was a small developer who had made a comment about Baldur's Gate 3, and essentially he was trying to nicely remind people that not every smaller studio is capable of creating a game on the scale that Baldur's Gate 3 was created on, and in that like really great shape on day one launch. Like, you can't expect all smaller studios to accomplish something like that. And then here comes some of the bigger developers, right? Those dudes that have lots of money and sometimes over 1,000 people working on their games for years at a time. You know the ones. They release a game and it's obviously it's not finished yet, and they just launched it and said, "Well, we'll fix it later." You know those guys. You know those guys. You know the guys. So they come over and they put their arm around these little developers and they be like, "Yeah, what he said. What's your name again, friend? It doesn't matter. I don't care. Yeah, I stand with this guy over here. You can't expect us developers. Am I right, buddy? You can't expect us developers to make a game like that. That's horseshit." All right. They had lots of money and over 400 developers, not to mention, what, six years to develop that? You can't expect us guys to do that. Am I right, buddy? What's your name? I don't care about your name. I'm just gonna put my arm around you so that way I can feel like, you know, we're equals. Even though we're not, you couldn't afford my car. You know what I mean? it's, it's that is just hilarious to me. If anyone ever deserved a moment where they were told to sit down and shut up, it would definitely be like these bigger studios, trashing the developers. They're not trashing Baldur's Gate 3. They're just whining, right? They're worried because they reset. They brought gaming back to that moment in time where once upon a time, a game would come out and you just sit there and your mind would be blown. You'd be like, wow, what'll they think of next? And all these ideas and thoughts are running through your head about what you're playing. But the one thing you're not really thinking about are how broken it is and how busted it is and when are they going to send a patch through to fix this stuff. Um, there's no storefront. There's no online servers. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Blizzard. That's why you didn't get my money when you announced Diablo 4 and what you were doing with it. That's why you didn't get my money. I saw that shit before it happened. So, uh, they're Baldur's Gate 3 is not just nostalgic in terms of the game itself, but the presence that it has in the gaming world now is nostalgic. It's bringing us back to a time when games were done upon release. Um, they made you think, "Oh, golly, what will they think of next?" There's no microtransactions as far as I know. You don't need an online server to play it. It's not broken and busted. It's not going to need gobs of frickin' performance patches and stuff like that upon release. And that's something that should be celebrated. But these bigger developers, they have gotten so used to launch it now, fix it later. This makes them look bad, and they can say what they want. But now, on the other hand, let's look at the other side of this coin. developers in their current state. You know, most of the people that you see behind those computers working every day, they're the puppets, and the strings go all the way through the ceiling, all the way up into that big office, okay, with some dumpy looking dude in a polo shirt playing on his Twitter all day long, or whatever the fuck it is rich people do. I don't know. He's the one that calls the shots, right? So these bigger development teams are beholden to like what the big wig says, right? And for an example, he'll come down and say, "All right, guys, I want you to make one of them Far Cry games." Oh, really? Because we have some really good ideas. No, no, just no ideas. Just make a Far Cry game. Well, okay, so we can come up with this story and da 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 da. Is it? Yeah, but is it Far Cry like? Well, it could be. Or just make it Far Cry. Well, I was thinking we could add. No, 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 no. I want a Far Cry game. Okay, so you just want us to make a copy of a Far Cry game? Exactly. Far Cry. Far Cry. Right. Um, and Baldur's Gate 3 is definitely changing. Right. We had Elden Ring that came along. That was pretty daggone impressive. And now Baldur's Gate 3 seems like it's filling that void that was left by Elden Ring. And I am so excited for its success, right? Because I want games to go back to what we're seeing right here on screen. I want, like, the moment I picked up Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance, and I started playing this game, I was like, wow, what will they think of next? You know? And then like now it's like whenever I pick up a new game, I'm kind of worried, right? Especially from bigger developers. I'm always like, oh gosh, what have they done now? Right? I want that excitement back. So Baldur's Gate 3 looks like it's going to inject some of that. But yeah, the development teams that are beholden to the big wigs, you know, some of them might feel a little jealous because they wish they could have that kind of freedom, right? And they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. A lot of these people are stuck behind their computers every day. You know, they got the gamers bitching in one ear, and they got the big wig up there calling them on the phone, bitching them in the other ear. Make me money. Gamers like, make a great game. Boss is like, make me money. Gamers are like, make a great game. And these guys that are caught in between, you know, like there's no, like, I did a video a while back where I talked about like developers having a gamer problem. And essentially that's what it is. It's really hard to create anything new. It feels like everything that could be done with gaming has kind of been there, you know. But when you take certain ingredients and you mash them together, you can create something exceptional, which they don't do. And a lot of times because they're beholden to the dudes that sign their paychecks, right? Make a Far Cry game. No, don't get creative. Just make a Far Cry game, right? You know, you see what I mean? So yeah, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that can't be easy for them. But yeah, for the schmucks that sat there and put their arm around the little developer guy, you know, like, what's your name? I don't care, but I stand with what you say, sir. Yeah, you can't expect us to make a game like that. I need that money to buy another mansion. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy. But anyway, yeah, that's my 2 cents. It's probably a little bit all over the place, but yeah. Um, I'm very excited for Baldur's Gate 3. It comes out in September for me, and that's okay. I've been waiting a long, long time. I'll wait a little while longer. I don't care. Xbox players have much longer to wait. They probably won't see a copy hit their console till next year because they're having problems with the Xbox Series S, which is a real shame that Microsoft would hold the project hostage because instead of letting them release it on the Xbox Series X, which could arguably handle a game like that. They have to sit there and they're probably going to have to gut out a lot of stuff with the game just to get it to behave on the Xbox Series S. Kind of like how Avalanche had to gut out parts of Hogwarts Legacy in order to get it to perform well enough on a PS4, right? I'm thinking that's why they're going to have to wait over a year. They're going to have to scale some shit back, and at the expense of the Xbox Series S owner who is not going to get the full experience that next, like other next gen consoles and hardware is going to get. So that's a bit of a shame. Honestly, if it was up to me, if I was running Microsoft, I never would have given a green light on the Xbox Series S. I would have took that money and I would have dumped it into one of our developers and say, hey, take this money and make a great game that's exclusive to Xbox that everybody's going to love, that shows off what the new Xbox can do. That should have been what they did with the money, but no, they took it and they made an inferior version of their next gen console. Like, that is got to be the most ridiculous flexing I've ever seen, and it yeah, it's a cheaper version. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have a cheaper version of the PS5 that's a little inferior to it. It's called a PS4. You know, nobody had to actually make that alongside the PS5. We just already have it. So yeah, nobody spent money on that. Anyway, that's all I got for now. You all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, and I will catch you on the flip side.